Do you think Meng Wanzhou charter rights was violated by CBSA and RCMP, and why?
Well, the defense case is compelling. The big question is, in the face of a court-ordered immediate arrest, and I emphasize the word immediate, defense was able to prove by leading evidence that arrest was to happen on the tarmac of Vancouver International Airport. However, almost at the last minute, there was a change of plans. And the change of plans was not to arrest on the tarmac of Vancouver International Airport, but to have the person go inside Vancouver Airport for hours, being subject to CBSA information collection. Well, that makes a defense case compelling because on the one hand, you have a court-ordered immediate arrest, and on the other hand, CBSA decided to not arrest immediately, using the plain dictionary meaning, but hours later, after gathering information. So that opens the door to an argument that there has been an abuse of the process, allowing the court to shut down the extradition matter by staying proceedings indefinitely.
When the extradition law was executed, which one is the priority? The border process first or extradition law first?
See, that's the mistake. It's not a choice between an extradition law and the border law. False. That doesn't go anywhere. The decision, the balance is what comes first. A court-ordered arrest immediately, or an examination subsequent to Canada's immigration program, or the criminal law, or the extradition laws of the country. It's easy as far as I'm concerned. The court takes priority. And Canada Border Services agencies had choices. It could have opened the examination and then immediately adjourned it or postponed it to another day because they were under court order to immediately arrest. And so what's the issue with immediately arresting? Why would they not want to? Well, as defense counsel pointed out, when you arrest someone, you have to provide the charter warnings. You have charter protection. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to counsel, among other rights. By not arresting, charter rights were not triggered. So the defense argues, well, wait a minute. We believe that you may have proceeded with a CBSA examination so as not to trigger charter rights. That's their position. It remains to be seen how the court's going to decide that one.
Would you explain the extradition law between United States and Canada?
There's no fast and easy way to explain an extradition legal framework between Canada and other countries. The big picture is that extradition happens daily in cases involving U.S. and Canada. It's normal. Both countries have agreed to return to the other country a person involved in a criminal matter, subject to local safeguards and protections, of course. So it's a complex area, but the defense has argued that some things that the United States is concerned about, such as sanctions with Iran, are not mirrored in Canada. Canada has no sanctions against Iran, so like they do in the United States. So that part of the allegations, according to the defense, shouldn't apply in this case. But other aspects would apply, like fraud or problems with wire-related things. So it's a really complex area, and that gives rise to multi-year appeals. But in this case, I don't think the extradition law fine points are going to rule the day. I think it's much simpler and clearer. It's why didn't you obey a court-ordered immediate arrest? Never mind the extradition law.
CBSA allowed Meng Wanzhou to enter Canada. It means she is admissible. Does the RCMP have the power to arrest people who do not have criminal history in Canada by the Canada-US extradition treaty?
Oh yeah, there are all sorts of people who never commit a crime their whole lives and commit a crime. So it doesn't matter what your past history is. You either commit a crime or you don't commit a crime, and if there are reasonable grounds to believe you did something wrong, the RCMP is well within its rights to arrest you. So that's not it. It's not whether or not in the past you did something wrong. It's what are the facts right now that may open the door to an arrest, and that hasn't changed. So there's nothing unusual there. What is unusual is that there should have been an immediate arrest. No dilly-dallying. So the rest of the process is subject to having a court order the whole thing closed down because of the failure to obey the court-ordered immediate arrest.
Do you think the American government has put political pressure on Meng Wanzhou's situation?
Well, personally, when I saw the President of the United States raise the case in the context of a trade negotiation with China, in my view, that colored the entire matter. One shouldn't politicize a case. How is it that the President of the United States focuses on a single extradition matter or criminal matter and lays it squarely in the context of ongoing trade negotiations with another country? So once I saw that, in my view, the person concerned was converted into a trade hostage. I was less than pleased about seeing the politicization of the extradition matter by none less than the President of the United States.
Do you think the RCMP has power to search the phone?
The way it works in Canada is you can't be stopped on the street and be subject to search by law enforcement authorities. It just doesn't work that way in Canada. There are some exceptions where there are reasonable grounds to believe a crime has been committed, and if you appear at a port of entry for a customs or immigration examination, that's different. So again, if there had been no court-ordered immediate arrest, I wouldn't have a problem with what the CBSA did, because the CBSA is entitled to administer Canada's immigration program at a port of entry, and that includes searching computers, laptops, cell phones. That's their chore every day. But what makes this case different is that the court ordered an immediate arrest. And if CBA was aware, and it appears they were aware, that an immediate arrest was to have taken place by order of the court, they should have obeyed. And it appears they didn't, which may result in the closure of the extradition case.
How long it will go, this case?
Well, the next step is the Crown must comply with the court order, or court direction, to produce an affidavit from a person with personal knowledge, attaching to that affidavit communication that may link with the FBI, American law enforcement, contacts with Canadian law enforcement. And if that's the case, if there is such evidence produced in this coming November, I suspect that when the extradition case opens in January 2020, we may well see preliminary motion to stay proceedings, or alternatively, the court may, on its own volition, review the evidence, and the court has the jurisdiction to say something like this. I have seen all this evidence, and even though I was involved in the early stages of evidentiary discovery, it is the view of the court that there has been, as defense contended, an abusive process. The consequence is that the extradition process will be shut down at that stage for violation of Canadian charter rights. Would that make everyone happy? I suspect so. I'm hoping for a resolution, perhaps November, December, or in January when the extradition case convenes again.
Is there anything else you would like to tell us?
No, I think you covered it all. I think all parties concerned would really like to see a resolution of this matter sooner than later. I think that the relationship between Canada and China recognizes that this is a one-off. The history of working together, that means Canada and China working together for decades now, will continue as it has in the past, as it will in the future, and this is recognized as a bump in the road. It's like any other thing. If you have longtime friends, there's always going to be a dispute, and it gives you something to laugh about years later. What isn't funny is the continued detention of 2 Canadian citizens, while one Chinese citizen in Canada is free to live a billionaire lifestyle with few restrictions. Contrast that to the 2 Canadian citizens. It's not pleasant, and hopefully they're well, and I'm wishing them well. So let's bring home our Canadians, and let's see what happens next.